Standing in the magnificent concert hall of the International Mozart Piano Competition, with her simple appearance and plain clothes, the competition director tried to direct her to the exit. When it was revealed that Anna Petrova was actually one of the world's most famous piano virtuosos, the wave of shock that swept through the hall was almost physically palpable. The magnificent Musikverein in the heart of Vienna was one of the most prestigious venues in the classical music world. The main concert hall, known as the Golden Hall, was world-renowned for its spectacular acoustics and walls and ceiling decorated with 24-karat gold leaf. This historic venue, opened in 1870, had hosted the New Year's concert performed annually by the Vienna Philharmonic Orchestra, where the works of Strauss and Mozart had echoed. Composers, conductors, and soloists who had left deep marks in classical music history had performed on this stage. Performing here was every musician's dream. The hall had an aura of its own: wooden panels, gilded reliefs, elegant columns, and crystal chandeliers hanging from the ceiling transformed the venue into a work of art. Everyone who stepped inside felt the musical spirit of centuries. The seats were upholstered in burgundy velvet, and valuable carpets were laid on the floors. Every detail was perfect, designed as if it needed to be as flawless as the music itself. This year, the hall was hosting another important event, the International Mozart Piano Competition. This biennial competition, attended by the most talented young pianists from around the world, was considered a turning point in a classical music career. Winners not only received a grand prize of €50,000, but also gained opportunities to tour prestigious concert halls worldwide, perform with leading orchestras, and secure deals with major recording companies. In short, winning this competition could change a pianist's career overnight. The competition director, Dr. Klaus Berger, was a famous music critic and former pianist in his 60s. With his long white hair, piercing blue eyes, and always impeccably tailored suits, he was a figure who commanded respect and fear in European classical music circles. A graduate of the Munich Conservatory, Berger had started his career as a mediocre pianist, but reached the pinnacle as a critic. He wrote columns in respected newspapers like the New York Times, The Guardian, and Die Zeit, and published articles in the most prestigious music magazines. Known for his ruthless standards and sharp tongue, Berger could both make and break a pianist's career. His evaluation, known as the Berger test, was a feared phenomenon in the classical music world. Many young talents had abandoned the stage after his harsh criticisms. That Monday morning, a day before the preliminaries of the competition were set to begin, the hall was filled with bustling activity. Young pianists were competing for last-minute practice opportunities, technicians were checking sound systems, and jury members were holding their final meetings. There was almost an electric tension and excitement in the air. Every pianist participating in the competition had prepared for this moment for months, even years. All had tried to perfect Mozart's most challenging works, polish their techniques, and refine their performances through countless rehearsals. These pianists had been selected from the world's best conservatories: Juilliard, Royal Academy of Music, Moscow Conservatory, Paris Conservatoire. Each was the brightest musical star of their country. In the magnificent entrance hall of the concert hall, between marble columns, a competition registration desk had been set up. Under a bright blue International Mozart Piano Competition banner, 3 staff members were seated. At their head was Lisa Wagner, a 35-year-old woman who always dressed elegantly, with her black hair in a tight bun, efficient, and the right-hand person to Berger in the organization. Lisa was Berger's student, and their mentor-student relationship had evolved into a professional partnership over time. Responsible for organizing the Mozart competition for the past 5 years, Lisa planned every detail perfectly, working tirelessly to meet Berger's strict standards. Since morning, Lisa had been handling the final registrations of participants, coordinating program changes, and solving minor crises. Working alongside her were 2 young assistants, Thomas and Sophia, both music management students, excited to have the opportunity to work at this prestigious event. "I haven't seen Maria Gonzalez, one of the last participants," said Lisa, scanning the list. "She was scheduled to perform tomorrow afternoon. Could her flight have been delayed?" Her assistant Thomas, with his carefully combed blonde hair and silver-framed glasses, checked something on his computer. She sent an email last night. She's fallen ill and can't participate. She attached a doctor's report, says she has severe flu. Lisa sighed. Dr. Berger will be very upset when he hears this. According to the program, we'll be one participant short for tomorrow afternoon. We'll need to completely change the program, which had already gone to print. Sophia, a brown-haired young woman of about 25, from a good Viennese family, asked with concern, "Isn't there a reserve participant? Sometimes some competitions have a reserve list." "Yes, there is," said Lisa, "but they requested at least a week's notice to make changes to their programs. No one can prepare in such a short time." Just then, a woman entered through the hall's entrance doors. Appearing to be in her early 40s, she wore black jeans, a gray sweater, and a simple jacket. Her brown hair was gathered in a casual ponytail, and she wore very little makeup, perhaps just a light lipstick. She carried a black bag that looked worn on her shoulder. Looking around, she admiringly examined the magnificent architecture of the museum. Her gaze wandered over the gold leaf decorations on the ceiling, crystal chandeliers, and magnificent marble columns. Smiling slightly, the woman then proceeded toward the registration desk. Lisa gave the woman a once-over. She didn't look like a professional pianist. Most contestants dressed elegantly, as if attending concerts, even during rehearsals. She was probably a tourist or perhaps a journalist. On the other hand, visitors usually used the back door. This area was only for contestants and staff. "Good morning," said the woman with a slight Eastern European accent. "Is this the right place for the piano competition?" Lisa put on a professional smile. "Yes, this is the International Mozart Piano Competition registration desk. How can I help you?" "I'd like to participate," the woman said simply. Lisa's smile flickered slightly. Thomas and Sophia looked at each other, smiling slightly. This woman clearly didn't know who she was. "I understand, but registrations closed months ago. All participants were pre-selected and included in the program. The competition begins tomorrow." "I know," said the woman, "but I heard there's an opening. Someone has fallen ill." Lisa raised her eyebrows. This information wasn't yet public. Only the organization team and jury members knew. "Are you a reserve?" "You could say that," said the woman. "Could I speak with Dr. Berger?" Lisa was now even more suspicious. "Dr. Berger is very busy right now. He's in a meeting with the jury members. I'm Lisa Wagner, the competition coordinator. Could you give me your name?" Anna Petrova." Lisa looked at the list. This name sounded familiar to her, but she couldn't quite place it. Maybe a music teacher or a professor from a small conservatory? "And which conservatory are you from, Miss Petrova?" "I'm not currently at a conservatory," said Anna. "I'm an independent pianist." Lisa, Thomas, and Sophia looked at each other again, smiling more noticeably this time. An independent pianist entering the Mozart competition? This was like an amateur runner trying to enter the Olympic Games. "Ms. Petrova," said Lisa in a polite but firm tone, "this competition is for the world's most talented young classical pianists. Participants are selected months in advance and prepared to interpret Mozart's most challenging works. This isn't just any piano competition. It's an event that can shape careers." "Yes, I know," said Anna. "I'm ready." Thomas let out an undisguisable chuckle. Sophia shifted uncomfortably in her seat, disturbed by her friend's rudeness. Lisa tried to be patient. Every year a few dreamers came, wanting to enter the grand competition. "Ms. Petrova, I'm afraid we can't add you to the program. If you're interested in next year's competition, I can provide you with information about the application procedure. The preliminary selection process begins in January." Anna remained silent for a moment, then took a card from her bag. "Perhaps you could give this to Dr. Berger? He might remember me." Lisa took the card and read it. It simply said Anna Petrova, nothing else. No title, no address, no phone number. A completely plain, simple business card. "I'm afraid this isn't enough," said Lisa, extending the card back. "Dr. Berger has a very busy schedule and—" "What's going on here, Lisa?" a stern voice interrupted. Lisa immediately turned around. Dr. Klaus Berger stood there in his usual impeccable suit, blue tie and gold cufflinks. His cold blue eyes quickly moved from the registration desk to Anna. "Is there a problem?" No, Dr. Berger, Lisa said quickly. This lady wants to participate in the competition, but I explained to her that registrations are closed. Berger looked carefully at Anna. In the classical music world, people generally dressed in a certain style. Elegant, refined, somewhat conservative. Anna's casual clothes and simple appearance stood out noticeably in this environment. "And who are you, madam?" "Anna Petrova," said the woman, extending her hand. "Pleased to meet you, Dr. Berger." Ignoring the woman's hand, Berger said, "Petrova? Doesn't sound familiar. Which conservatory did you graduate from?" "Moscow Conservatory," said Anna. "But that was a long time ago." Berger was now clearly impatient. He felt he was wasting his time. "Ms. Petrova, this competition is for young pianists between the ages of 18 to 30. You are clearly outside this age range. Additionally, participants are selected months in advance, and our program is already full." "But I heard there's an opening," said Anna. "Maria Gonzalez has fallen ill and can't participate." Berger gave Lisa a stern look. This information wasn't yet public. "I'm sorry, Dr. Berger," Lisa said quickly. "I didn't share this information." Berger turned back to Anna. The woman was strangely calm, as if she was used to such situations. "Ms. Petrova, preparation for a competition at our level takes months. It requires hundreds of hours of practice to perfect Mozart's most challenging works. Of course, we have alternatives to fill Maria's place. Pianists who are already selected and prepared. We can't just insert someone random." "I'm not someone random," said Anna quietly. Mozart's Piano Concerto No. 23 and Piano Sonata No. 11 are in the competition repertoire. I can play both." Berger looked Anna up and down, clearly evaluating her clothes, posture, everything. Then he put on a mocking smile. "Ms. Petrova, perhaps your intentions are good, but this isn't a show for amateur musicians. This is one of the world's most prestigious piano competitions. Every participant has received at least 10 years of intensive training and passed international preliminaries." "I know," said Anna. "I just want a chance." Berger was now impatient. Every second was valuable to him. Concert program, press conferences, VIP receptions. There were so many important tasks to be done. "I'm afraid that's not possible. Now, if you'll excuse me, we have preparations for our important guests." Then he turned to Lisa. "Could you show Ms. Petrova where the visitor gallery is? If she wants to watch the competition, she can follow from there." This was an outright rejection and a humiliation. Berger didn't even see Anna as a contestant, just a spectator. The hierarchy in the classical music world was very sharp, and Berger had placed this woman at the very bottom. Anna still appeared calm, but a momentary spark flashed in her eyes. "I understand. Thank you." Just then, the large entrance doors opened and a group of people entered. In the lead was a well-dressed man in his 50s, followed by various assistants and officials. When the man saw Dr. Berger, he smiled and approached him. "Klaus, I finally made it. The plane was delayed, but I'm here now," he said, kissing Berger on both cheeks in European style. "Anton, welcome. I was starting to worry," said Berger, his smile suddenly much more genuine. Anton Richter was the world-renowned conductor of the Vienna Philharmonic Orchestra and the head jury member for this year's competition. Throughout his 30-year music career, he had conducted the world's greatest orchestras, made countless recordings, and won 3 Grammy Awards. In the classical music world, he was one of the few people as respected and loved as he was. When his gaze turned to Anna, he suddenly froze. "My God," he said, his eyes widening in surprise. "Anna! Anna Petrova? What are you doing here?" Berger's smile faded. "You know each other?" Anton laughed in astonishment. "Know each other? Klaus, this is Anna Petrova, the queen of the piano. Her Mozart recordings are legendary. 5 Grammy Awards. You haven't forgotten the piano marathon at Carnegie Hall, have you? That magnificent performance where she played all of Mozart's piano sonatas within 24 hours? When she left the stage and disappeared 10 years ago, the classical music world talked about it for days." Now everyone was frozen. Lisa's eyes were wide open. Thomas and Sophia looked at each other in astonishment. Dr. Berger's face had turned pale. "Ah, Anna Petrova, Berger stammered. That Anna Petrova? But, but you. I had retired, yes, said Anna calmly. But sometimes I miss returning to the stage. And Mozart was always my favorite. Anton clapped his hands excitedly. This is wonderful. What an honor. Then he turned to Berger. Klaus, is Anna Petrova wanting to participate in our competition? This is big news. I heard Maria was sick. Anna, would you accept being a jury member in the competition? The views of a master like you would be invaluable. Anna smiled slightly. Actually, I was thinking of being a contestant. Anton's smile froze. Berger made a choking sound. Everyone in the hall looked on in shock. A contestant, said Anton, unable to hide his astonishment. But you're Anna Petrova. You've won 7 Grammy Awards. You've played in the world's most prestigious concert halls. You gave a special recital for Queen Elizabeth. Your interpretation of Rachmaninoff is even considered the best in music history. And now I'm here wanting to play Mozart, said Anna simply. As Dr. Berger said, there's an opening. Berger's face turned from red to white, then back to red. Of course, I mean, as you say, he stammered. Anton understood the situation and laughed. Klaus, it seems you didn't recognize Anna, and now you found yourself in a difficult position. Lisa stepped out from behind the desk and took a step forward. Dr. Berger, we can add Ms. Petrova to the program in place of Maria. Technically, there's no problem. We just need to update the program booklet. Berger tried to compose himself. He had never encountered such a situation in his career. Of course. Ms. Petrova, I apologize. I didn't recognize you. This is a great honor. Of course you can participate in our competition. Anna inclined her head slightly. Thank you, Dr. Berger. And don't worry, such misunderstandings can happen. Berger was now completely at a loss. The woman standing before him was one of the greatest piano virtuosos of the last 50 years, and he had tried to direct her to the door. Ms. Petrova, we're greatly honored to have you join us. Perhaps I could show you to the rehearsal room. I'm sure you'd like to try our pianos. Thank you, but shouldn't we complete my registration first? Said Anna, looking at Lisa. Lisa quickly sprang into action. Of course, Ms. Petrova. I'll take care of it right away. Anton was still in shock over the event. Anna, are you really sure you want to do this? I mean, you could be a jury member. Actually, you could be our guest of honor. Anna smiled. Anton, I just want to play the piano. For me, it has always been about the music, not about titles or status. Anton nodded understandingly. That's always why I've admired you, Anna. But you know, these young pianists have been waiting for this moment for years. Now when they learn they'll be competing with you. Don't worry, said Anna. I'll just do my best, and so will they. Music isn't a competition, it's a sharing. And maybe they'll learn something from this too. As Lisa completed the registration form, Dr. Berger was still trying to cope with the shock of the situation. Throughout his career, he had worked with many famous musicians, but Anna Petrova was a legend, and he had failed to recognize her, had belittled her, had almost thrown her out. This was the biggest mistake he could make in his career. The news spread quickly. Social media went crazy. Anna Petrova returns. Zrenia, piano queen Beckham's Constantant. Zrenia, shock in the music world. Заголовки были повсюду. Music blogs and magazines immediately published headlines. Tickets sold out within minutes. On the black market, tickets to watch Anna's performance were selling for 10 times the normal price. Anna was incredibly calm amidst all this chaos. By her own choice, she was staying at the same hotel as the other contestants. Not at a 5-star luxury hotel, but at a modest guest house. She waited in the same queue for rehearsal, drank the same coffee, and was kind to the other young pianists. The young contestants were initially shocked, then filled with a mixture of fear and admiration. Anna Petrova was a legend they had listened to since childhood. They had listened to her classical albums countless times from CDs, later from digital platforms. They had tried to imitate her technique, studied her interpretations, and now they would share the same stage with her. The other contestants had different reactions. Some were horrified. How could they compete with a legend? Some were excited. Playing alongside Anna Petrova was the opportunity of a lifetime. All were wondering, after 10 years, was she still the same Anna? Did she still possess that legendary technique and emotion? Wei Lin, a 23-year-old from China, was one of Anna's biggest fans. He tried to gather his courage for days to approach her and ask for an autograph. Finally, at dinner one evening, he extended a sheet of music to her with trembling hands. Miss Petrova, he stammered, I'm a huge fan of yours. I got your first CD when I was 9 years old, and I've been listening to you every day since then. I've practiced thousands of hours trying to play like you. Anna smiled, took the sheet music and signed it. Thank you, Wei, but don't try to play like me. Play like yourself. The most beautiful thing in music is that every pianist adds their own tonal colors and emotions. I'm really looking forward to hearing you tomorrow. Wei's eyes sparkled. The legend he admired was looking forward to hearing him. Another young pianist, 19-year-old Marco Bianchi from Italy, carried a different concern. Ms. Petrova, your participation in the competition, is it fair? I mean, you're already a world-renowned artist. Anna nodded thoughtfully. I don't know if it's fair, Marco. But music is never completely fair. Some have more innate talent, some have better teachers, some have better instruments. What's important is to remember that this is more a celebration than a competition. We're celebrating Mozart's music. These words spread by word of mouth and change the young pianist's perspective. Now, instead of seeing Anna as a competitor, they were celebrating the chance to perform on the same stage with her. On the first day of the competition, the hall was packed to capacity. The Golden Hall, with a capacity of 1,700 people, was so full that you couldn't drop a pin. Media had come from all over Europe. Famous figures from the classical music world. Critics, representatives of record companies, everyone was there. They didn't want to miss an important moment in music history. Dr. Berger had initially seen Anna's participation as a PR disaster. The purpose of the competition was to highlight young talents, and now all attention was focused on Anna Petrova. However, ticket sales had broken records, sponsors had flocked in, and the competition had received unprecedented media coverage. Perhaps this was an unexpected blessing rather than a disaster. The competition was arranged in alphabetical order. Anna Petrova, with the letter P, would perform in the afternoon of the second day. This gave other contestants an advantage. They could present their own interpretations before hearing hers. The first few contestants performed, noticeably tense. All were technically perfect, but something was missing. They all knew what it was: the Anna Petrova factor. Playing in her shadow was difficult for any pianist. Wei Lin was to give the last performance of the first day. Before going on stage, he was rubbing his hands and taking deep breaths backstage. Anna approached him. Nervous? She asked gently. Yes, Wei admitted. Very. And you'll be watching too. Anna smiled. Let me tell you a secret. I still get nervous too. Before every performance, it's normal. The important thing is to transform that nervousness into music. Wei nodded gratefully. Thank you. Now go and play Mozart in your own style, said Anna. I'll be listening. Wei Lin went on stage and gave the performance of his life. As Mozart's Piano Sonata No. 11 flowed from his fingers, everyone in the hall was mesmerized. Wei had never played so well before. When his performance ended, the hall erupted in applause. Anna from backstage smiled proudly. When it was Anna's turn, the hall held its breath. Anna had dressed in a simple black dress and had her hair in a simple bun. No ostentation, no ornaments. She took the stage, sat at the piano, concentrated for a moment, and began. As the first notes filled the hall, everyone understood. The legend had returned. The music flowing from Anna's fingers was clear, pure, and emotional, as if Mozart himself were there. Her technique was still flawless, but the real difference was in the emotion. Every note, every phrase told a story. Everyone in the hall was captivated by the magic of the music. As Anna played Mozart's Piano Concerto No. 23, time seemed to stand still. The orchestra was in perfect harmony with her, as if they had been playing together for years. Anna's interpretation was both classical and innovative. While remaining faithful to Mozart's spirit, she brought a fresh breath to it. When her performance ended, there was a moment of absolute silence. Then the hall exploded. Standing ovations, cries of "Bravo!" swinging tears in the eyes of some spectators. Even Dr. Berger, usually cold and critical, was standing and applauding in the front row, his eyes moist. Backstage, the young pianist had watched with admiration. Now, feelings of fear and competition had given way to pure admiration and inspiration. Anna's performance had shown them what perfection looked like. Marco Bianchi asked excitedly, "That was incredible. How, how can you play with such emotion?" Anna thought. "I see music not just as notes, but as a story." What was Mozart feeling when he composed this piece? What did he want to tell the audience? I ask myself these questions and express the answers with my fingers. These words were a lesson for the young pianists. Most had focused on technical perfection, but Anna reminded them of the soul of music. The result of the competition was no surprise to anyone. Anna Petrova unanimously won first place. But at the award ceremony, she did something that surprised everyone. She gave her award and the €50,000 first prize to Wei Lin, who had come in second. "I've already had my career, received my awards," she said, speaking into the microphone. "These young talents need the opportunity now. I was here just for the music, nothing else." The hall once again erupted in applause. Anna Petrova had proven herself to be not just a pianist, but also a teacher, a source of inspiration. Dr. Berger, his eyes still reflecting his astonishment from the award ceremony, approached Anna. "Miss Petrova, I apologize again for not recognizing you at first. It was an unforgivable mistake." Anna smiled. "Dr. Berger, everyone makes mistakes in life. What matters is what we learn from them." "And what did you teach me?" Berger asked. "Perhaps," said Anna, "to evaluate based on the music, not the appearance. And perhaps that every pianist, no matter how young or old, how famous or unknown, deserves a chance." Berger nodded thoughtfully. "You're right. And next year, I'll change our competition accordingly. More inclusive, less elite. Music is for everyone, isn't it?" "Yes," said Anna. "Music is for everyone. And sometimes the most beautiful music comes from the most unexpected places." That evening in the reception hall, Anna was surrounded by young pianists, giving them advice, answering their questions. The admiration in their eyes showed that she had reignited their passion for music. Wei Lin, still stunned while holding the prize check, said, "Ms. Petrova, I can't accept this. This is your right." Anna held his hand. "Wei, this money will be much more valuable for your education. Conservatory expenses, maybe a new piano. These are important for your future." "But you deserved it," said Wei, his eyes filling with tears. "You were the best." "Maybe technically," said Anna, "but you did something that I can't do much anymore. You brought a fresh perspective to the music. In your interpretation, there was an innocence and excitement that I lost years ago. That is valuable." Wei finally nodded, his eyes showing gratitude and determination. "I promise, I'll use this money well. And one day I want to be an inspiration like you." Anna smiled. "I have no doubt about that." In another corner, Anton Richter and Dr. Berger were talking. "This was the most memorable in the history of the competition," said Anton. "Anna's return has created a new excitement in the classical music world." "Yes," Berger agreed, "and it taught me a valuable lesson." He raised his glass. "To music." "To music," Anton replied. After that evening, the International Mozart Piano Competition changed. It became open not just to young people from elite conservatories, but to pianists of all ages and backgrounds. The selection process became more transparent, more fair. And every year, Dr. Berger reminded the jury members of the same thing. Look at the music, not the clothes. Look at the talents, not the appearance. Because one day, an Anna Petrova might come to you in simple clothes. Even in a competitive environment, Anna's lesson had been lasting. Music was not a competition, but a celebration. The aim was not to win, but to share the beauty of Mozart. A year after the competition, Anna gave a concert in the same hall. This time, half the hall was filled with young music students. They had received free tickets. Before taking the stage, Anna gave a message to the young people. "Music is yours. Own it, love it, and share it." When the concert began, Anna was again dressed with the same simplicity. But this time, no one judged her by her appearance. Everyone knew that at that moment, one of the greatest pianists of modern times was taking the stage. And this whole process had begun with a misunderstanding, with an exclusion. Sometimes life teaches the most valuable lessons in the most unexpected moments. Anna Petrova had reminded even those who belittled her of the universal language of music and the value that goes beyond appearance. Anna Petrova continued her career selectively after that competition. She gave recitals in grand halls, but her main focus turned to education. Her preferred place was music schools in small towns, teaching talented but underprivileged children. For her, real success wasn't Grammy Awards or sales figures, but the enlightenment on a child's face, the moment they discovered music. Wei Lin completed his education thanks to the money Anna had won, and now gives concerts as a rising star. In every interview, he says that his inspiration is Anna Petrova and repeats her words. The most beautiful thing in music is that every pianist finds their own voice. Dr. Berger, before retiring, compiled his memories in a book. The most striking chapter was titled The Anna Petrova Lesson. Here he described the biggest professional mistake of his life and what he learned from it. The book became a textbook for classical music students, and every year at the International Mozart Piano Competition, after the last performance, all participants come on stage and play a Mozart piece together. This is Anna's legacy, a spirit of collaboration rather than competition, sharing rather than winning. Anna Petrova continues to practice every day at the piano in her home in a small town. Sometimes her students ask her, "Why don't you go on world tours? Why don't you make more recordings?" Anna always gives the same answer. Because music is made for the soul, not for applause or awards. And sometimes the purest music comes in the simplest clothes from the most unexpected places. And she never forgets to add, never judge a person by their appearance. True value is always beneath the surface. What did you take away from this story? Have you ever judged someone by their clothes or appearance, then realized you were wrong? Perhaps you've experienced something similar? Share your thoughts in the comments. If you like the video, please subscribe and turn on notifications. Where are you watching from today? Let us know in the comments. And remember, true value is not in appearance, but in character. Until our next story, take care of yourself and approach everyone with respect.